today I am doing a ranking all the Spider-Man films. So I'm going to be ranking the Spider-Man films obviously so far, including No Way Home in this video. I'm going to be doing it from 9 being my least favourite and 1 being my favourite Spider-Man film right now. Honestly, this list could change, like, it varies, and I'm just putting it out there right now. I love every single Spider-Man film, and obviously they all have kind of their own flaws, but they're all amazing films and I love watching them. But this is kind of ranked in a way that the least rewatchable to like the most rewatchable, if you know what I mean. You get me? Let's just get on into it. So my least favourite Spider-Man film is The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Like, this film is good. I think it is a good film. And I do like watching it. I enjoy it. Although there are some parts of it that I think are a bit stupid, shall I say. It's got great action sequences. I think it's got great swinging sequences and web slinging sequences. Great acting from Andrew and Emma. And everyone really. Jamie Foxx is a great actor, but I think that obviously because he's Electro, his stupid blue body, he can't really show emotion in this film that well because of how just the CGI and the effects, you know, on his body, which is why I think it's good in No Way Home, you know, when he's just a normal person and he's not blue. This film has got really good slow-mo sequences. I love the slow-mo, you know, mid-air sequences of Andrew just like in the air. That's sick. I just think they tried to, you know, cram too much in one film. Too many villains, should I say. You know, we have Green Goblin, and first of all, the Green Goblin is horrible. I'm not even gonna lie. I don't know the actor's name, but he does a good job in playing Harry and the Green Goblin, but he's just not. He's not Green Goblin, let's be real, guys. Who's the OG here? Willem. That's right.
You know how much I sacrificed?
And obviously when they tried to put Rhino at the end of the film, I mean, what happened there? Just that whole scene, really, of Gwen falling is beautiful, even though it's depressing. But I don't know, it's just my least favourite Spider-Man film out of all of them. It's just like the least rewatchable film, I think. Yeah, in my opinion. Next is gonna be a hot take. It's Into the Spider-Verse. I'm sorry. I think this is a good film, don't get me wrong. I just put it this low because I cannot remember it. That is honestly why. I've only seen this film once and I literally cannot remember it. Like, I remember like 2 scenes. That's literally it. So I need to watch it again, I know, but I just haven't watched it again. That's why it's so low, because I don't really have much to say about it because I cannot remember it. I remember that it was funny, and it's obviously a very unique film, very different Spider-Man film. I think it's beautifully, you know, done. The effects, everything. Although it kind of would give you a headache. And if you have epilepsy, don't watch this film. I think it's a great story, you know, the multiverse with Spider-Man, Spider people, things. I think it was done really well in that sense. I just honestly cannot remember it, so that's why it's so low on my list. I'm so sorry. Also, pray for Miles Morales to come into the MCU, you know, as an actual live action person, because that'd be sick. Next is The Amazing Spider-Man. I know I'm putting both of Andrew's films at the bottom. I think he's a great Spider-Man, don't get me wrong. I think he's a great Peter Parker. Love him. Although, hashtag TASM3. I do like The Amazing Spider-Man. I think it's honestly a really good film. Great acting from him and everyone. I think it's a, you know, I think it's a great film. It's a solid film. It's different, obviously, because they're all different in their own way. It was cool to see something different, you know, from after seeing Tobey's films. And I actually like Lizard as the villain. I know he gets a lot of hate, but I think he's a cool villain. I know the relationship between Gwen and Peter in Andrew films are a lot, you know, stronger than Toby's films. I mean, MJ and Toby's films. But Gwen is she's a great love interest, and I think they're really cute together. Again, this film has great action sequences, great web slinging scenes, great slow-mo scenes. It does it very well, and I prefer it to the second Amazing Spider-Man film. But it's just not my favourite, but I think it's still good. I think it's still good. At number 6 on my list is Spider-Man 3. Now this film I feel like gets a lot of hate. Yes, it may be cringy, but this is what we live for. I mean, it's what I live for. I literally rewatched this for like I don't know how many times. And it's so good. It's such a good film. I love Tobey as Spider-Man and Peter Parker. I honestly actually don't have a favourite Spider-Man. I love them all. I honestly cannot pick. I like how Venom is introduced into the MCU. Well, yeah, into Marvel, I guess. I love the scene of when, you know, Venom actually attaches itself onto Spider-Man, and then, you know, Peter's on the bed like, oh. That's a great scene. And then, oh, it's the best scene in the whole of cinema. And he's literally do 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 do.
Where am I?
And he's on the side of the building, and he's like, "What is this?
What is this?
Wow, this feels good."
Wow. This feels good.
Best scene. Best scene. Love it! And his black suit is sick. I don't even care. That is the best Spider-Man suit ever. I'm sorry. I'm putting it out there right now, girls. I think it's iconic. It's got iconic quotes in it, which I literally quote on a daily basis with my sister and brother.
See you, chump.
It's a different take on Venom and Eddie Brock, and it's just cool and clever. And yes, they may put, you know, well, there's 3 villains in this film, which is kind of why, I guess that's the flaw of the film, how they do cram villains into it. Green Goblin, but Harry as Goblin, and Venom and Sandman. I love Sandman's story. That's really sad, and you feel sorry for him because obviously, you know, his whole backstory of his daughter. I hate Eddie. He's a dick. But that's why it's so funny. Ugh. I get why people, you know, don't like it because they think it's just cringy. But like, that is literally, like, that's what makes it great. It's amazing. We love Bully Maguire. In 5th place is Spider-Man Homecoming. Now this film was the first, you know, Tom Holland solo Spider-Man movie that we'd seen from him, and I think obviously it was done so well. I think it was a different take on Spider-Man, and yeah, it was just a very different film compared to Andrew Garfield's and Tobey Maguire's films. But it was a good film, I think. It's just not my favourite. And didn't make it to the top 3, but it made it to the top 5. It is pretty rewatchable. It's a very kind of cute, nice, sweet film, if you know what I mean. You know, it really shows his life in high school and his relationship with Liz, which is obviously quite different because it's, you know, relationship with Liz, it's not MJ, but then obviously we see that relationship with MJ in Far From Home and No Way Home. It's a very kind of kiddie film, and people say it's like it's when he's like Spider Boy kind of, because he's like 16 or something in the film, and obviously, you know, he's looking up to Iron Man and Iron Man is looking out for him, and he just wants him to be safe and everything, but like he's just trying to, you know, do his best in the city. I really like Vulture as a villain. I think it's really interesting. I also think it's a great twist when we see him knock on the door to pick up Liz, and guess who opens the door? It's Michael Keaton.
He must be Peter.
Watching that for the first time, I was like, girl, I did not see that coming. I think the visual effects are great. It's a fun little cute film. In fourth place is Spider-Man. So Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, which I think is a classic. Honestly, I honestly would kind of want to put this higher, but it's just hard, guys. It's hard to pick, okay? But this film is iconic, and it's obviously the first Spider-Man film that I watched. Yeah, I watched Tobey Maguire's films growing up, so for me, these films, they have a special place in my heart. I love the Green Goblin. He is the best villain. I'm sorry. Period. I love Harry and Peter's relationship. I love Harry. James Franco. Even though we don't love him so much anymore. If you know, you know. His suit is iconic. Love it. I think it's it's probably my second favourite suit after his black Venom suit. Yes, the effects may not be good, but it's 2002. Give it a chance, girlies. You know, like, it's still great. Like, I love it. Although one thing about Tobey Maguire's films that I'm not a fan of is MJ and how annoying she is. She's just annoying. Like, it's not about you. It's about me and my career. Shut up. In third place is Spider-Man 2. I think this film is kind of perfect. Yes, the effects may be a bit dodgy again, but they're better than the first Tobey Maguire film. And Dr. Ock is great. I love his storyline, and I love him as a villain. Kind of also feel sorry for him in a way, because obviously he lost his wife, and the little machines have obviously taken over his mind, and he's gone a bit cray cray. And also his little like tentacles, I don't know what they're called, why have I literally forgotten, but yeah, that wasn't CGI as well, that was actually animatronic, which I think is sick, the way that they did that. Great action sequences, and obviously the iconic scene of him pulling the train, stopping the train from falling off the edge, and then he falls, and then they catch him, and then he flows. Yeah, he crowd surfs. But yeah, it's iconic, and again, it's got iconic quotes in it. My back, you know, which we see that reference in No Way Home. It's just amazing. In second place is Spider-Man Far From Home. This is a bit controversial because I know a lot of people actually don't like this film, which I don't understand why. I think this film is great. I really don't understand why people don't like it. No, it's post Endgame, which is depressing because obviously Iron Man just died, and he's going through some stuff right now, girls. So you feel sorry for Spider-Man, you feel sorry for Peter, but MJ and Peter, their relationship comes closer. I love Betty and Ned, that's so funny, and I honestly love them together, and I wish they actually stayed together. I love that they travel around Europe because we just get to see other, you know, settings and sceneries other than, you know, New York, which is fine. You know, love New York. I've never been, but it looks nice. But, you know, it's nice to see like different places. It's a school trip, so it's just like fun, and the teachers are great in this film. Flash is funny. I think the comedy's great. I think the action is great. I think Mysterio is a good villain. I like Mysterio, and that twist when we find out that he is the villain. Girl, I honestly The first time I watched that I was like, what just happened? And obviously if you read the comics then you'll know that he is a villain. I haven't read any of the comics, so I did not know that he was a villain. I thought he was literally just a friend and a nice person, but turns out he wasn't. I love the whole idea of the drones and that drone scene where Spider-Man is in the whole shebang. Great visual effects, great effects, you know, and Jake Gyllenhaal is like, you're worthless or whatever. And then that scene of Tony coming out of the grave. Yeah, all that whole scene is chef's kiss. That scene where he kills all the drones, that's a sick scene. And Happy, oh. So depressing, sorry. I'm just getting flashbacks from No Way Home. I just think everything in this film is great and I love it. I love it. And we see the growth of Peter Parker from Homecoming and the change since, you know, Tony's death and him trying to deal with that and everything and deal with school as well as being Spider-Man still. In first place, of course, it is the one and only Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, of course, this is my first place. I mean, can you really blame me? I've already done a whole video on my explanation on how I love this film. I'll link that down below. It's got everything in it. It's got everything I literally just talked about in one film. And yes, that might seem a bit crammed and a bit overloaded with stuff, but like, it's done well. And like, it's literally like what? I'm still trying to comprehend this film, guys, and it's literally been a month since I've seen it. So that is my ranking of all the Spider-Man films. Hope you guys enjoyed. I'm sorry if there's a bit of controversy, but it's my own opinions. And I will see you in my next video, which I don't know what it's gonna be, but I'll see you then. And yeah, let me know your ranking down below, because I want to know. Bye! Peace out!